Good morning, Terry. I'm sorry it takes so long to get to this review. I have been so focused on the new production setup, the new teaching environment in my studio, and doing lots of testing. And okay, finally we get to here. So let's take a look at your artworks, and I want to give you my suggestions how you're going to move on from here to improve. Let's take a look. I have to say that you have vast interest in the variety of subject matters. You did the flowers and the landscape, different objects, animals, and human. The faces, they looks all very, very good, and a very good observational and imaginations. First, take a look at the flowers. The flowers, you have a very good observation, very keen observation into the shapes. The variety of shapes compared to petal to other petals. That is difficult for lots of beginners of drawings that would be able to capture, because that's showing that you have a very good observation. The observations is very, very good. You have been looking at things in an artistic way, comparing from one petal how the line curving and changing, that actually looks very, very nice. And the design in the drawings looks very good too. You can see that how the moving from floating from one flower to another flower, the bigger shape, smaller shape, and past the space, next space, and they work pretty well. The landscape drawing with the different things, like you have three things over here. One is the old house, the farmhouse, and the windmill. That they looks very nice. The design is very good. Except there's a little bit the floating of the focal point, and the thing that you try to supposed to be saying as is the main objects in the drawing. What is this? What we are trying to say, right? We're talking about the middle one. What are we going to say with this picture? Are we saying that there's two animals? There's two animals, mother and daughter, and in the morning get out and look at there's something going on the left side of the picture. Or you try to say, oh, there is a machine sitting over there, waiting for the man come out to start the work in the morning. Or they say, oh, look at a beautiful farmhouse, and it would be and so on. So basically, what is the subject matter you try the people to focus on, which would help to tell the story from here to the next picture. So if you say, oh, I'm talking about the two animals. Okay, the two animals. And in that case, you talk about the two animals, and the two animals supposed to be the main objects, and maybe the two animals would become a little bit larger, right? And the machine maybe move it to the right side, and the farmhouse may be a little bit softer, lighter, maybe fading a little bit more in the distance, maybe make it a little bit incomplete. That's what I mean, is maybe move the farmhouse a little bit more to the left, so it's not a complete farmhouse, like cut it in the middle, like that, only showing half of the scene. In that case, we make it less important. So that is all about what we are trying to say in that picture. That is as in the storytellings, we were not going to make all three of them looks exactly the same sizes, and also the same distance that you put it in between of them. That looks like to me look like three different pictures. Like say I can cut just separate just into three portions, and then each one is a page, right? So, or you want to make something a little bit more as the dominant object, the other becomes supporting. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the composition. And the composition still need a little more work into it. So take a look at the portrait. The portrait looks very good. It's difficult to draw someone in a slanted angle, like not as straightforward. So you got a lot of things put it well. Like say the nose in the right place, but the detail of the nose is not quite there, and the mouth a little bit too much to the right side, maybe. But there's come down to the other language of drawing, the drawing vocabulary, the tool that we can use to express our ideas in a picture. There's say the proportion almost there. It's not exactly there yet, but the proportion in a very good level. But like say how you're gonna use the background, and how you're gonna make say which part of the face you want the people look at first, and then come down to talk about the lighting. How we're gonna use the lighting to create that. Like say I want the people focus more on the lower part of the face. If that's the case, you maybe want to have the shadow overcast from the head down to the nose area. So that way will help to focus on the lower part of the face. But if you want the people looking at the left side of the face, you maybe deploy some lighting from the left side of the face. So have the right side of the face become in the shadow. And also the catch the shadow on the chin, the bottom of the chin would cover part of the neck. And that is kind of those important tools. There's a lot of tools that we can use, similar to English literature and maybe the other language of understanding and speaking, as most people can do. But as artists, how we can use more vocabulary, a little bit more tools that we possess, that we be able to tell the same level of story with drawing and painting. Let's take a look at your watercolor painting. Your watercolor paintings looks really good. Like look at the animal on the right side. Your pen and ink with watercolor wash, that looks very good. It's beautiful twisting of their body, and lead the viewer looking into the left side of the page. So it kind of connected the other page, maybe something going on. So this is one of the things. So this painting is really good. I'm sure that you spend lots of thinking into the design. Basically, you are a very good storyteller. But the vocabulary with the painting and drawing maybe can be improved. So it help your storytelling with this new language. And the background, we need to think about it. And what is going to be should be in the background, right? And how we can you create a soft background as part of the picture to tell the other level of the story. Something is going on, something is going to happen, and something had happened, and those things we can embed it into. And the second thing is, again, shadow. We still can think about it, the lighting, how we're going to think about it. So that also carry on into the portrait painting. This is a beautiful portrait painting. It has some basic lighting over there. You have some on the cheek, right? You have some a little shadow, a little darker value. The background actually help to make the face actually stand out, and help the body a little bit darker, the dress a little bit darker. Those looks really good. I actually all the composition is very good, but except that talk about the edges, which is this week and last week we focused on how we actually use the edges to create the focal point and create the movement, create the transitions, and so that will help us to tell the story, the narrative of the artworks a little bit better. And you haven't think much into that by looking at all those painting and drawing that you gave it to me. So say if you want the people looking at more focus on one side of the face, the other side of the face you want to have the edge a little bit softer, maybe create some steps. Like for example, on the left side of the face, if you wanted to, the edge is not stand out that much, so get the attention more into the eyes, for example, right? In that case, you need to soften the edge of the face. So right now, our attention, the first thing would jump to the edge of the face, because that is the biggest contrast. So also you have a painting done with the flowers. This looks really good too. Each individual flowers, that looks very good. But however, if I'm asking you is which flower is the first enter point into the artwork. So that is the one of the fundamental of our art storytelling, right? So which one you want to enter, which one to exit. We need a little bit more design planning into that, because they all look the same importance. So that the lighting, the composition, the overlapping, those things, and that is would play the role of telling stories. So what I would like you to do right now, I want you to get more vocabulary by starting learning the basic drawing first. And you probably already visited the Enjoying Art Library. Let's take a look at it together. And after you log in, if you go to enjoyingart.com, use your first name and your email address with the account, then you can come in to see those library. You're looking at this. I'm going to create more and more of the collection in here. What I like you to look at is on the top right hand side, drawing basics. And when you click here, you come in. These are all very basic drawing that I already arranged it the way that start from the very basics and talk about the observational contour drawing with the apple. You may or may not need to look at this lesson, but you can go through that, so you can go through the whole system from the bottom up, right? So this is the apple contour drawing. The second one, a little bit more complicated, contour drawing with tissues row, and then coming down a little more of those drawing. In those drawing, I also talk about angle, talk about measurement, talk about all those basic concept of drawing language. Now come down to the charcoal red pepper, and we are talking about how to view the color and how to view the values and how to create the pictures with light and dark colors, was one of your weakness, which is lighting. So you can follow my instruction to do the same drawing exercise, and then you can use your own object put on the table, and to see whether or not you can draw from observation. Use the same idea and the same vocabulary in the drawing to finish it. And then you're coming down, you can try different tools, explore different materials. And this, after you go through all this, and you would be ready to actually go to the different library folder. You can come down to learn maybe the watercolor lessons of flowers, or you can do the color of autumn, which is I painted lots of leaves with also very simple techniques with watercolor. And you take a look at over here with the watercolor lesson of flowers, and that would give you enough of those soft edges and how to use, like the top over here, how you create the edges on the top over here much softer, and look at the edge over here on the right side down here, because the value contrast, there's different way to use the background to enhance the focal point. And especially, like, say, what we want the viewer to look at first as a part of the main objects, not the whole main objects. We want part of it to become more important, and the part of it would become less important, and also create a little bit more dynamic feeling when we are doing that. And then coming down over here, so it's quite a bit of library in here. So after you finish the drawing basics, and then you can come down to explore a different subject matter of learning. So hopefully this is give you enough thing to focus on right now. Your ideas, basically you are already a great storyteller, mostly with your ideas in your mind. But when you come down to actually doing it, the vocabulary is a little bit lack of. So you want to do a little bit more drawing first, come down to that, and then show me your new progress in a month or two, and then we're going to see what kind of lesson particularly that you would need to move on to the next step. And my new lessons will all based on our members' needs. I create those. So also the new lessons will also associate with how you're going to learn from here to the next step. And thank you very much to joining us. And I'm looking forward to your new work. Thank you.